Aye.
I'm Paula Mayas with the New Mexico Broadcasters.
Oh, nice to meet you. How's it going?
Nice to meet you.
How are you? Oh, okay. I've got vertigo. I have like a, yeah, and getting it here. So please don't do that to me. I'm just kidding.
It's all right. Catch.
Oh, God.
Mr. Morris, good evening.
How are you doing today?
Excellent. I'm always happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm glad you
I'm about 90. So I have to stay here for that? I put them on this how it goes start out. So it's just the first one. Yeah, the second thing like, oh wait a minute, you can stay over fast than this. But there may be also that or, by the time they get confused, they will but yeah, that'd be way. We have a dog breed, by the way. That's the presentation for now. He's totally missing the point.
You can have mine. There it is.
Mine doesn't work.
He's got it.
Yeah, I know. Perfect. That's music to my ears. Let's get together and have lunch or something. I'll talk to you about, catch up with some of this stuff. This time we'd like to call the meeting to order. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our monthly council meeting. Today is September 11, 2012. Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Cordova?
Here.
Councilmember Beta?
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez?
Here.
Councilmember Peralta?
Here.
Councilmember Silva?
Here. We do have a quorum. And at this time, I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Before we stand, though, I'd like to just take a moment to say a few special words on this special day of remembrance that changed the way we live life forever. And I'd like to ask our first responders that are present here to stand here just so I can express a few words of appreciation. Many times as citizens, and I'll speak as a citizen as well, and on behalf of our citizens, many times we take it for granted the work that you gentlemen do. And we realize that literally you guys are prepared to take a bullet for the safety of the citizens, put yourselves in harm's way to save citizens. And we sincerely appreciate it, not only as citizens, but as representatives of our citizens. We sincerely appreciate your dedication, your family's dedication in allowing you to serve the town of Taos. So I appreciate it. So we'd be honored if you'd lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, the two chiefs along with your employees. This time we'd stand. We could have a moment of silence first and in remembrance of those people that lost their lives on 9/11.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you, gentlemen. Please express our appreciation to all of your employees of each departments as well. Next, we'll go, before we go on to the other agenda, I just want to welcome UNM Taos, who we have contracted now to run our Channel 22. We look forward to the relationship that we've entered into, the contract that we've entered into with UNM Taos. We thank Taos Local Television for the many years of service that they gave to the town of Taos. And we look forward to this new endeavor with UNM Taos, the educational component that's going to be brought forward to our citizens as well as filming our council meetings. So thank you and welcome. Okay, at this time, we'll go to approval of the agenda. Is there any changes or amendments to the agenda? Oscar?
I'm sorry. That's okay, Oscar. I don't have it. Yes, Mr. Mayor, items number 9B and 12A, we'd like to take them off the agenda. The reason being that our counterparts with the state government and with the federal government have not yet taken the step necessary for this thing to be relevant, and so in order to stay in step with them, we'd like to hold these things back to our next council meeting.
10A, you're saying?
10A, yes, sir, and that is because the record of decision has not yet been issued. We have anticipated it, and the federal government has told us that once they issue it, that we have to quickly respond with the resolution changing the structure of our airport advisory board. And in the case of 9B, the annual operating budget, this is well, these are just the procedures for towns that are not home rule, and so they have not yet reviewed it. And so it would be premature to approve it.
On the 10A, do we need to table it since it's a public hearing and notification has been given?
I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. It is to table that.
So when we get to
Of course, if
that,
anyone is here to speak on that,
so I would recommend council members, when we get to that item, just a motion to table.
Speak.
Or table or continue so that we don't have to re-advertise. Do we continue to the next regular meeting?
Excuse me, Mayor, council members, Town Manager, that item, if it's a public hearing, it will need to be continued to the next regular meeting, which is what I think we want to do.
We could table it or
Which is
continue it.
September 25th at 6:30.
Well, I think continue.
Continue.
yes.
Okay. So we'll recommend, when we get to that item, to continue to the next. We can have those dates prepared, and we can make a motion accordingly. Okay? Any other changes?
No, sir, just item 9A, it is a long presentation from staff. And, with your indulgence, sir, we would like for that to be the last item so that you can take care of all the other council business and just, at that point, turn your attention to the presentation from staff.
Okay. Okay. Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll go to item 5A, the approval of meeting minutes, August 14th, 2012. Regular meeting minutes. Is there any changes to those minutes as presented?
I have none, Mr. Mayor.
I'm done, Mr. Mayor.
I've done, Mr. Mayor.
Done, Mr. Mayor, move for approval. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we will go to item 6A, presentations by New Mexico Broadcasters Association. Presentation by Paula Maez, Executive Director of New Mexico Broadcasters Association, and also Board Member Maez. I think are you still the President of APS? President of Albuquerque Public Schools. Many of you recognize her on her many appearances on TV. Welcome, Paula. Welcome.
It is my pleasure tonight to represent the president of the New Mexico Broadcasters Association, Mary Lynn Roper. And we're here tonight to bestow an honor we've only bestowed 4 times before in the history of our association, and that's a lifetime member, somebody that never gets off of our board. And we have honored in the past Jim Roper from Raton, New Mexico, for his work in broadcasting in the northeastern part of the state. Jerry Danziger, who was a longtime general manager of KOB TV, and our last honoree that we gave this award to was Richard Garcia from Espanola, and we gave it to him about 7 years ago. So this is not an award that we give lightly. The board considers who it's going to bestow this honor to, and it's someone who has done a lot for our industry. And tonight, the board of the New Mexico Broadcasters Association is proud to bestow upon Darren Cordova a lifetime member of the board of directors of the New Mexico Broadcasters Association. Darren has been a very important part of our industry, especially in the area of Spanish and New Mexico music. And it is such a big part of our broadcast industry now. And he was very important in that. And one of the 3 original people, it was probably KBQ in Albuquerque, Richard Garcia, and then Darren, who were the first ones to bring New Mexico music. And now even Tucumcari and Jal and Hobbs all have Spanish language radio stations now. The other thing that Darren has been most helpful to us, and that's been a lobbyist for our broadcast interest in Washington. When we go up there, they listen to what Darren has to say. He's been a longtime member of our board, but we wanted to make sure that he would never really leave our board. So tonight we want to make him a life member of the New Mexico Broadcasters.
If I could say a few words. Being on the New Mexico Broadcasters Board is an honor. I'm serving with some very prominent individuals. Paula, the executive director, she says that I have influence. When she calls a senator or a congressman, they listen to her, especially from our district and our delegation, not only statewide but federally as well. It serves the interest of the town of Taos. It really does, because being in media, politicians at the national level and the state level really pay attention to the broadcasters because it's the media. And it really has benefited the town of Taos, because when I go to Washington with the broadcasters, I also take my little folder and lobby on behalf of airport issues, federal issues that we have to do there. So it really has served the interest of the town of Taos. And I thank the council and the staff for allowing me and putting up and giving me the patience, because sometimes I'm having to work around my schedule and attend the meetings. And I missed a meeting today, unfortunately, a board meeting today. But thank you very much. This is such an honor, and we really appreciate it. And this is, I mean, the individuals that I'm serving with, I mean, I have big shoes to fill. So thank you.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Thank you.
All right, once again, thank you very much. This was an honor. Next, we will go to the citizens forum. I know, Paula, you had to get back, so thanks for, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Be safe, and thank you for your service to the citizens of New Mexico and everything that you do. Next, we'll go to the consent agenda. I don't have do I have a sign-up sheet there? Okay, first on the agenda, we have Mr. Jeff Northrop. Mr. Northrop, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. I have 3 issues I wish to address. Is this on? Can you hear me? I know you want to hear me. Thank you. I've suggested several times over the years that the citizens of Taos need and deserve a civilian review board to oversee the abuses by the Taos Police Department. Initially, my concerns were several outlandish physical abuse cases against citizens, beginning about 10 years ago. To my knowledge, no police were ever sanctioned. We have seen other police involved in domestic abuse cases, even one resulting in the officer being sentenced to prison. Policemen tend to be violent, which is probably good most of the time, but sometimes they do overstep their boundaries, and there need to be some checks and balances. More recently, I've been the victim of the police becoming the private Gestapo for this administration, a situation made much worse when a crooked municipal judge, Dicky Chavez, is also controlled by this administration. I believe that all or most of the Taos cops realized their actions against me were illegal, but it was their job to do the administration's bidding. The citizens of Taos deserve protection from the police, just as we need protection by the police. The issue of the command center has fallen from the public debate. We need to know if the proposition to move to the E911 from the police station to the command center is dead or alive. If dead, good. If alive, opponents of the move must not be taken by surprise, as we were over a year ago when this proposition first surfaced. Hiding the status of this ridiculous proposal only further amplifies the mistrust the public has for this administration. Finally, I'm more impressed by the prize that comes out of a Cracker Jack box than any award that comes from the New Mexico Broadcasters Association to DMC Broadcasting. Only 2 radio entities in New Mexico are willing to pony up the $30 it costs to apply for the meaningless yearly recognition awards. One is Taos and the other DMC Broadcasting. The awards are basically given by default because other eligible stations throughout New Mexico apparently have better uses for their $30, happier buying a couple of pizzas over winning the meaningless awards. It is a total waste of time to bring the New Mexico Broadcasters Association folks into this chamber. I believe 17 awards were given for 2011 to commercial stations, and all 17 were won by Taos stations. I'm guessing the award tonight was probably similarly contested and warranted. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Councilors, any questions? Thank you very much for your comments, Jeff. At this time, is there anybody else on the list to speak? Mayor? He's
Thank you. This time we have Anthony Perez and Tony Barajas. You guys want to come up together or individually? Okay, together. Of the Taos Auto Enthusiast. Welcome,
Either
gentlemen,
way.
to our meeting. Welcome.
We're here just to thank the Town of Taos for being our co-sponsor for our 18th annual Taos Autumn Run. We had 174 participants registered, and we just want to thank the Town of Taos for their being the co-sponsors.
Yeah. Again, to reiterate what Anthony said, we really appreciate the town being involved. It's an all-volunteer organization for people that don't really know. We give out scholarships to high school seniors looking to forward their education towards college. So it's a really good thing. It brings in a lot of community people. It's a free event. It's non-judging car event with really good people from, we've brought in people from Oregon, Wisconsin, Minnesota.
This year we had from
Texas, Arizona. Yeah.
Wow.
So we really appreciate the town and continued involvement because it does benefit. All the proceeds stay here in Taos. They don't go anywhere. So it does benefit our youth. And I've been involved for the last 2 years. And Anthony's he's a veteran. He's a veteran, so he has a lot of history, but I wouldn't be involved if it didn't help the youth of our community. So we really appreciate continued support from the town, and we just want to thank you. And we brought some event T-shirts for you guys.
Great. I just want to...
So wear them proudly.
And I know a few of the council members want to express their appreciation. I just want to say that this is such an awesome event, and we're fortunate that we have an organization that takes the time and effort and volunteerism to make it happen. This is really what makes Taos Taos. You know, when you have community events and you bring to life the plaza the way you all do, it's just phenomenal, and I really appreciate it. And I encourage the council. I was talking to Oscar that we start working on and implementing a plan on supporting it further, and this way it's set in concrete, and it's a solid plan on how the town of Taos is going to support your efforts and enhance those efforts, because we really feel that it's vital. I saw all the license plates, so many license plates from Colorado. You know, you had 171, but
Yes.
that's participants, but I guarantee that that's times 4 or 5. Because they bring their family and extended family, and it's just a traveling showcase that we're fortunate that you all embrace and are able to make it happen. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Not only do you do this, but you give it right back to the community in forms of supporting our youth.
Yep.
So it's clearly a benefit to the community, and it adds to the quality of life of our town.
Well, the benefit, the other benefit to us, we hand out scholarships, but we bring in revenue to the town in hotels.
Sure.
You people go shopping because we're not a judge competition. So the wives, the husbands stay there and they're talking with their friends, and the wives go out shopping. They enjoy it.
Sure.
They really
Yeah.
enjoy the show.
It's really a family event, and we encourage all of you to go to Kit Carson Park next year and take a stroll through. And we have events for the kids. We plan events strictly for kids. So we get a lot of participation. When the kids are happy, the parents are usually pretty happy too.
Great.
So
Councilmember Silva.
I have a few comments, and I'd like to echo what the mayor's message was, but in addition to that, not only being an economic driver, supporting our youth, giving clean entertainment, it's just a good venue, and in addition to that, what more fitting is it to have this event in Taos? Taos is an art colony, and these cars truly are a work of art. the amount of time and funds that go into there, each and every one of those cars, along with the passion. All the car owners are really enthusiastic about what they do, and they're truly a work of art. I've been impressed when I have gone, and thank you guys. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the town is going to be behind you for a very long time.
We appreciate that.
Councilmember Peralta. Thank you, Councilmember.
No, Mr. Mayor, I believe my brother is a charter member of your organization. And I hope to be a participant next year. I think my car should be ready.
It's almost ready.
It's almost ready.
Great.
Again, I had the ability to walk through on Saturday evening for the street dance, and it was so nice because my son walked hand in hand with me, and it's nice because I remember doing the same thing with my dad when we walked from vehicle to vehicle. So now that I'm a father, it's kind of nice being able to do that with him. Not only that, but for the benefit it brings to the community as one more place that we're able to visit with friends in a relaxed environment and talk about the past. I'm waiting for these computerized vehicles to be a classic one of these days. But again, thank you guys for the work that you guys do, because I know it takes effort.
And thank the council again.
Thank you.
Councilmember Abeyta.
Thank you, Mayor Cordova.
Turn on your microphone.
It's not working.
There you go.
Tony, Anthony, I didn't get to attend this last weekend. I was out of town, but I heard a lot of positive remarks throughout the community. So thank to you folks. Thanks to everybody involved. You guys did an excellent job. And every year, I always present a unique challenge. This year, you guys faced a unique challenge. By no way is that unique challenge going to prevent the town of Taos from fully, 100%, unrevocably supporting you next year. So we're going to continue to support you.
Thank you.
Oscar, if we can, from here to the next budget cycle, start reaching out and setting some meetings and identifying how we can help and enhance that and set it.
We would love that.
For the next
Absolutely.
budget cycle.
Yeah.
You bet.
Okay.
We'll do that as part of the budget process.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And also thank you to all the volunteers. Cindy, I know you worked tirelessly on it as well, so, and all the families and all your daughters as well. So, thank you. Okay, next we will go to the consent agenda. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the citizens forum at this time before I go to the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will go to the consent agenda, and I'll read the consent agenda. If there's anything that'd like to be pulled, you could pull it after I read the agenda. Item 8A, grant application for rural transportation services, consideration and possible approval allowing Public Works Department Transit Division to apply for financial assistance under the USC Section 5311. Item B, grant application to the New Mexico State Fire Marshal's Office, consideration and approval to apply for the New Mexico State Fire Marshal's Office for the grant in the amount of $100,000 to purchase an apparatus pump test trailer and 1-ton vehicle tow trailer. Item C, resolution, consideration and possible approval of Resolution 1251, requesting grant funding in the amount of $4,000 from the Los Jardineros Garden Club of Taos to complete the landscaping at the pool patio at the Taos Aquatic Center. Item D, grant agreement with the New Mexico Tourism Department, consideration and approval of grant agreement between the Town of Taos and State of New Mexico Tourism Department for grant funding in the amount of $40,000. Item E, contract amendment to Griffin Marketing Contract, consideration and approval of contract amendment number 1 to Griffin and Associates, $398,000 marketing contract for number TT-1311 for fiscal year 2012-13, increasing the contract amount by $40,000. Item F, Resolution 1258, consideration and approval of Resolution 1258 to accept Federal Aviation Administration Grant number 335-0041-026, 2012, in the amount of $28,384 for the design of a snow removal equipment building for the Taos Regional Airport and authorization for the mayor to enter into contract. Members of the council, is there any items that you would like to remove for further discussion? If not, entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Silla.
Just item E, I just like clarification under parentheses, says receipt of this grant was an earlier item on this agenda. Could that be clarified, please?
Let's go ahead and remove that. That way we can go ahead and.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of item.
I'd like item E pulled then.
Item E? Item D or E?
E.
Okay, E, okay. So entertain a motion approval for the rest of the items.
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item E, clarification on that, Oscar?
Yes, sir. This, can you hear me?
This is the amount
I
that
got
we
it,
received from the governor at the, when the governor came, correct?
Yes, sir. This is a grant that the governor came to Taos to announce. It's a $40,000 grant that we received through a competitive process. The town of Taos applied with a number of other communities throughout the state. The program, what it did is it invited communities to propose a complementary local marketing program that paralleled or was in alignment with the overall state marketing program, in this case, Adventures in Taos, or Discover Adventures in New Mexico. And so the town applied. We got a $40,000 grant. What was in our budget, we thought we were going to get $35,000, and actually we turned out to be $40,000, which is why there is that budget adjustment item later on that recognizes that extra $5,000 in revenue. What this does is it increases our overall budget for marketing that we have with Griffin Associates, and also increases it by the revenue, and also increases it by the expenditure.
Okay, Councilmember Peralta.
Mr. Mayor, in that regards, Councilmember Silva, what this is also is it's a required matching grant, and because of all of our monies for marketing are tied up in the Griffin and Associates contract, it's logical to put this amendment of $40,000 in there so that automatically the matching funds are recorded, so that it's easier for us to keep track of it and make the recording requirements.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Entertain a motion for approval. If there's any other questions?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. All right. Next, we will go to item 9C, since we're moving 9A last.
Yes.
Resolution, consideration and approval of Resolution 1252, budget adjustment requests.
Yes, sir. This item is related to the one we just completed. That would be the part 2 in the resolution. And the first and the second piece are related, are related to the water and sewer department. The first part has to do with our final resolution of a dispute that we had with the contractor in this project. It comes out to $181,000. And the third part is a decrease in the unreserved fund balance in the water and sewer income fund to pay for the remainder of the money that we needed to complete a project in the Dillon Lane project, which is about 500 feet of sewer pipe there. We had thought that project was going to exceed $50,000. It turns out we were thinking it's going to be below that, but we still need to transfer some $20,000 from the operating fund of the water and sewer department to the capital project, and that's what this resolution does.
Okay.
It is also related to item D, which has to do with the ratification of a change order, and I'll get to that when we get to that item.
Okay. Entertain a motion for approval, or if there's any questions, Councilmember Beta.
Mayor Cordova, thank you. One question, Mr. Rodriguez, on item number 3, the Dillon Lane project. There's going to be 12 families that are extremely happy to be receiving city sewer after being in the city for 10 to 20 years. So excellent job there. Oscar, who received that contract? Who was the low bidder?
It is still in process.
Okay.
We can't announce it at this time because
No, that's fine.
Truly it's not done yet.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Peralta.
maybe I don't quite understand this, but we're decreasing by 181,000, but we have to pay 62,000 as part of the completion of this project. So shouldn't the decrease be the difference?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Peralta, the actual full amount is we still owe the final pay application plus the change order amount. So that 181,000 is going to cover that full amount. We have that amount in the unreserved fund balance, so we're moving that out into the capital project.
So the total payment to the contractor is going to be 240,000
181,
plus the 62?
no, 181 in total. The 181,
26.
626 in total. So that's the final pay application plus the 62.
I got it. I understand it now. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion for approval.
Move for approval, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Item D, we already discussed that one. Any questions further on that item?
Just have a comment.
Councilmember Silva.
This is in regards to the change order 10 with AUI. I just have a comment on the overall project. This is a project to improve the wastewater treatment facility. It's quite a large project. I think the original contract amount was $5,032,073. The total cost is, I don't have the total amount, but it's additional, including the change orders, is the change orders total up to $556,609. And the comment I wanted to make is this is about a 11% overrun. In the industry, it's standard to have about a 5 to 6% overrun. And I just think that what we need to do is, in the future moving forward, when we have our engineers design a project like this, we just need to make sure that they don't have loose ends, because that's what makes projects overrun. And sometimes we complain about the overrun, and when in fact we should be holding our engineers a little bit more accountable. And just so we don't have an 11% overrun, it's a little excessive.
Okay. Okay, and I think we have an executive session. No, it's not. I think they've been negotiating. I think we've been, I don't want to say too much because it's still in negotiation.
No, this would end it. This would complete it.
Okay, yeah, so I know that there was some serious issues that I think you were involved in as well there, but we did have some issues with the whole contract and how it took place and what transpired and stuff, so we definitely will work on those concerns as well.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, entertain a motion for approval.
Move for approval, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll go to item E, policy and procedures for central communications. Approval of policy and procedures for central communications dispatch to replace the existing informal verbal policies in place. Oscar.
Yes, sir. What this does is formalizes and puts in place the policy procedures that our central dispatch people will follow from now on. Currently and historically, they have been following really a collection of memos, attachments, and verbal directions. And so what this does is that it puts them all together, it updates them, and it uses the best practices that we know of in the industry for that. It's an organic a document that should be updated continually. And anyway, this is the first step for that. It's been about a 6-month project that led by our interim chief. He has had it vetted throughout the town organization by several lawyers and the dispatch staff as well. And so what you have here is our best effort to have written policies and procedures for our dispatchers. We recommend approval, and as time goes on, we have to amend those. We'll come back to you if we need to make major modifications, but at this point, we think this will hold for a while to come.
Okay. Any questions or comments? So all of these procedures were verbally before? Or just...
Well, no, not all. Some were verbal. Some were memos. Some were pieces of other people's policies and procedures. And they worked, but it was not professional in our opinion. And so what the chief took it upon himself to do was to formalize it, put it all in one document, and update it.
Great. Chief, and I really appreciate that because before, and this is, several months ago, maybe a year or two ago, I started getting some complaints on the nature of which dispatch were interacting with the public, and I think this kind of identifies some guidelines on how they're going to do that. Okay. Any other comments, questions? If not, entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll go to item F, contract number TT 1355 with Valcom Incorporated. Consideration and approval of contract TT 1355 with Valcom. Oscar.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is phase 2 of a refurbishment effort that was started a while back. The phase 1 was the upgrading and the securing and maintenance and major maintenance that was done to our main antenna that's just outside the police command center. And so what this contract, this grant does is that it does some rather serious maintenance to the 7 repeater stations we have throughout the valley. Some of those repeater stations, in fact, are non-functioning, and with this they will come back on. Everyone that's served by Central Dispatch will get better service. This is a grant that comes to us from the Homeland Security Department. It's $75,000. We have a match for the difference of that, and we had originally asked for, the council originally granted in the budget or put in the budget some $37,000, and by going with the state contract, we're seeing that whole project is going to be something less than that. And the way the grant works is that it just pays for the work, whatever that is, and that's going to be some $87,992. And of course, we'll use the $75,000 from the Homeland Security grant first. And so this does represent a little bit of savings for us. And so what you can see with this is just some repeater stations that are going to work. Finally, others that are going to work a lot better, and we're just going to have a lot better security in each of the 7 stations.
Councilmember Peralta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oscar, on this did this go out for proposals or bid, or is this under a federal contractor agreement to use them to do this work?
No, we're going to go with a state contract, that does this. Valcom is.
So Valcom has a contract to do this work for the state?
Yes.
Okay. Because that wasn't in the paperwork.
Well,
so
I apologize for that.
Okay. So it was a non-bid project?
It was a non-bid project. It'll take about 5-6 weeks to do.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments, questions? Not entertain a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Just wanted to make sure.
Sorry, Mayor.
Those opposed, motion carries. Just wanted to make sure for the record that we voted accordingly. Okay, next we go to contract number TT 1382 with the United States of America Department of Interior of Reclamation. Oscar.
Yes, sir. This item and the next one come together. They are an extension or provided for by our historic Chama, San Juan Chama water settlement that the council authorized about a month and a half ago. What that settlement provides for is that some water can be sold, some water that's not used can be sold among the parties, and that other water can be rented among the parties. And so item G, or contract TT 1382, allows for the Department of Interior and Reclamation to buy from the town water that the town's not going to use at this time. And the contract provides for that. Really, if we can't use it, we will lose it otherwise, and so the contract says we're going to get paid for that. And the second item, the contract also provides for water that can be rented. In this case, water that only now can be estimated that has reached a certain level in the reservoir such that they can allocate it. Well, it can't be guaranteed from one year to the next. So, and the transfers in those cases are just a rental, and so the contract provides for the rental of that water that corresponds to the town. And so, what this authorizes is for the towns then to rent to the Bureau of Reclamation that water that's in that reservoir right now.
So, are we banking these water rights? That's an inside thing. It's an inside thing that we're dealing with.
Yes.
Having some issues with the way the state of New Mexico deals with private owners. And we're having some internal discussions, so that's the reason why I made that comment. Anyway, council members, do you have any questions on the item G?
I have none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Seeing none, entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we will go to item H, which Oscar did explain as well. Any questions on that item?
So move.
Move for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next, we will go to item 10, public hearings. An ordinance, consideration and approval of ordinance 1212, an ordinance amending Chapter 212 of the Town Code governing the Municipal Airport Commission by renaming the commission, reconstituting the membership of qualification and staggering terms of the appointees, providing for Taos Pueblo to appoint a member as well. This item is to be continued to the next regular meeting, as discussed at the beginning of the meeting. So I would entertain a motion to continue this item to the next meeting, which is
Mr. Mayor?
25th.
September 25th
Tuesday, September 25th
at 6:30 p.m.
at 6:30 p.m. So I would entertain a motion accordingly.
Mr. Mayor, so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. The meeting will be continued accordingly. Next, we'll go to item 11, matters from the mayor and council. Is there any items from the mayor and council or youth council member at this time? I do have one item for the Youth and Family Recreation Board. What is the official name of the board? I'm drawing a blank.
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation Board. We're having some issues, not issues, but they want each council member, if you have a name, to submit for consideration so that I can appoint some additional members. They have had some participation problems, as other volunteer organizations do typically. And this is a vital board, and they do have a pretty solid core of members that do attend, but all the terms are expired. So at this time, they have recommended certain individuals that have expressed interest, but we're short about 3 or 4. So if by the next meeting, or not by the next meeting, in the next couple of weeks, if you can recommend to the manager some names that you know of individuals that are willing to participate in this board, I'd be happy to appoint them.
Mr. Mayor, can you provide us with a list of the members that they're submitting right now, or potential members?
Sure. I can do that. I can do those that have confirmed their interest in continuing, such as Shelley Barr, I think Debbie Friday, I'm drawing a blank, but Mark Yarovich, those have confirmed already, so.
How many members on the board, Mr. Mayor?
I believe there's 7 members.
Yeah.
I believe there's 7 members, but I would like the council to submit at least a name. If you have a couple, that's fine. That way we can look at a pool of names, and I can meet with this board and kind of get some recommendations.
Okay.
If we can also have the list of the members that were not participating as they should have, and that way we don't turn in their names.
Sure. Okay. I will do that. Abigail, if you could do that. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, council members. Any other items or concerns from the council? If not, we will go to item 12, executive session. The council will adjourn to executive session to discuss.
Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry. Oh, we had a presentation. I'm sorry.
No. We'll come back to that after the executive session.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Well, I think the executive session is very fast.
That's the item we
I
moved.
think so the staff can go home. There's
So
no
the
need
staff
for
could
her
go
to
home?
stay
Yeah,
here.
I agree.
I would agree.
I agree.
think.
I agree.
Let's do it.
Let's do it so the staff can go home.
Doing something stupid in there.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, well, let's go ahead and move to item 9A. And we'll go to executive session after that. Approximately how long is this presentation?
2 hours.
Really?
Yes, but now that we're here.
Now we'll go to executive.
In that case, let's go to executive.
Okay, that's working.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, what we're going to try to do tonight is something new. I know I have visited with each one of you and explained to you what the purpose of this presentation was, and I just want to repeat that just to make sure that the public understands, and so that hopefully with this we'll kick off a tradition and a standard piece of business that the council will do once a month every year. And what this is going to be a presentation by the department that tells you what they understand, what the department believes is their mission, what their job is, what they think are the key issues that are most affecting that department and their ability to do their job, and the things that they're doing, the key things that they're doing to address those issues. And the purpose of that is so that you can see what on this side of the table the staff is thinking about and how they are trying to serve you. And also so that you then will have an opportunity to react to that, to provide us input, and so that you can tell us, well, we understand, but our priorities are this, a little more to the left, a little higher, a little lower, et cetera. And so that by that means we can be in better coordination, better alignment with your policy direction. And so the idea is that with finance, we kick this off, and from now on, every month you'll be getting this presentation from each of the departments. Certainly the larger ones will warrant more time, and in some cases, for some of the smaller departments, towards the very end of the fiscal year, you'll be getting perhaps 2 departments a month. And so in that way, when the budget presentation comes around, that the departments will have taken this input from you and then propose to you a budget that addresses that and is better aligned with the way you want to take the organization. And so that's what the attempt is here. Again, I apologize if we just we're going to try and learn how it is that you prefer to go forward here, and so we'll also be paying attention to how it is we can best communicate to you the information we're trying to impart. So here we go.
So here we go. Good evening, council members, mayor, and if we go, you'll have the presentation in front of you. It's just a PowerPoint presentation showing, first of all, the finance department's overview. First thing is our duties and our responsibilities. Obviously, we do many things, wear many hats, but our main functions are listed out. We have the budget that we prepare. We prepare the annual budget. Right now, we're at a $32 million budget, and we oversee like 26 departments and divisions in between. We monitor revenues and expenditures. We help departments manage their budgets, their finances, their internal policies. We help them with that. Our procurement side, we procure over $12 million in goods and services. That's a figure that we do. It's probably more like 67% of the actual budget that we would procure if everybody did everything that was in that budget for that year. We manage the fuel program. We probably spend over $350,000 to $400,000 on just fuel alone. Under the accounting part of the finance department, we do month-end closing. That entails reconciling the bank accounts, which we have probably 14 of them. Journal entry recording, that kind of things, getting to the month-end closing, just like you do your own finances at your own home or business. We post monthly and quarterly financial reports, send those to the state, everything that's required by DFA or any federal programs that we have. We manage the procurement card program. That entails approximately 36 cardholders and probably over $500,000 in procurement card purchase throughout the year. We operate our financial system that's entering the budget, monitoring it, changing it, creating reports and such. We actually do cash and management investment. And we'll see when we get to the next couple of slides, you'll see what kind of levels of service we provide for all of these things that we do. We also do the annual financial audit. We get all the documents ready for the external auditors to come in and do our annual financial audit. We do internal audit functions within the departments and within the different areas of the budget, the procurement side, and all the other programs that we do. Under accounts payable and payroll, well, obviously we run payroll for all the employees that we have with the Town of Taos, and we do all payables within the department. We try to turn that in between 10 and 15 days turnover time. Some entities do 45 days, some do 30 days. We try to make it a habit between 10 to 15 days to pay our vendors timely. We have grants management, manage all of the town's grants, and coordinate through all the capital improvements projects. We do fixed assets administration, manage our database for all our fixed assets and our capital assets. And fixed is something, all the cars, the heavy equipment, the roads, streets, everything in that general area. We manage also the public service surplus program. That is outside public surplus auction where we sell or get used rid of all our stuff that is unusable. Cell phone program, we do the cell phone program. We monitor the monthly, quarterly tax reports, monthly reports, and management the insurance program also through the New Mexico Self-Insurance Fund. We also have a division under the finance department, which is utility billing. We do cash collections under there, monthly bills, the monthly utility bills, bringing in all the revenue for water and sewer, solid waste, and landfill income. Customer service is a big thing in utility billing, greeting the people, answering their most needs, their questions, whatever may come up at that front window. They also do accounts receivable, monitor the waste management contract for the pickup of all the trash, and they do that in utility billing, and then service orders within the work of working with utilities department. So those are major functions of the department duties and responsibilities that are imperative to the town itself.
And speaking as an outsider and someone who's been in this business for a long time, this is the standard complement of duties and responsibilities of any finance department you'll find anywhere, large city or small city. This is not at all different from what you'd see in those cases.
So the next slide that we have is just our resources of what we have to do our job in this space. We have 11 and a half full-time employees, equivalent to 11 and a half full-time employees. And you'll see the organizational chart there. Or you might not, it's a little small. But We also have a budget of $845,193 between the finance and the utility division, and you can see that 73% is salaries and benefits, and the rest is operations. Our resources that we need in the department is really our financial suite, where we do everything electronically, or we have our general ledger, we do processing payroll, utility billing, cash. Everything that we do is integrated in one system. So that's our main resource that we use within the department. Along with, we do have a bill unfolding sorting machine within utility billing, and hundreds of calculators and tapes and things that we need to do our jobs. That's what we have, and we use them. So those are just the resources that the department has. The next slide is just coming to the level of service that we provide based on what we have and our functions within the department. Our budget we have is a 5-month preparation cycle. In some larger communities, they may take a year for their budget cycle, but they also have additional staff members that just work on that. We give the level of service of about 5 months, from February through the end of July, to do the whole budget cycle. We do a lot of direct administering of the department's budget. Budget adjustments, helping them, trying to figure out different things that they have budgeted in there and going with them.
Now, I do want to highlight this part. This is a significant part of what the department does. If you were to break out just where a lot of the time goes in the department, you'll find a big part of that time is spent continually consulting with the departments and helping them with their budgets and telling them where their finances are. We'll be talking more about this. This is something I think it needs to be highlighted, and we'll mention that in just a little bit later.
We also help manage some of their budgets, and we do provide analysis, but they're limited. And with the workflow and the time that we're working with, we do some limited analysis, reporting, sending you all the monthly report, showing some comparisons. But there's some, when we get to the last slide, like Oscar says, we'll talk about the level of service that maybe that we can provide better to the mayor and council for what the need is on your side. In procurement, we do a lot of the same direct management of for certain departments, just around about different ones and different things that come up. We do manage the fuel reporting system, but we give general analysis, but that's about the level of service that we provide there. Also with the procurement cards, we do a monthly audit. It's pretty much after the fact, because the procurement card is like a credit card in a way, and you're purchasing it right up in front. But we do a monthly audit of that, but that's the level of service that we provide there. Our fixed assets, right now we're just using inventory from previous and recording current things and trying to keep above with that. That's about what we're doing, because that fixed asset person has many hats and things that belong to her also.
But to give you an idea of what one would expect in fixed assets management, a more complete level of service here would be one where every item is on the list, and along with an appraisal or some sort of evaluation as to what the value and the condition of that item is, whether it's a building, whether it's a movable item like a car, or even a piece of furniture. So at any given time you can say, we have all of these things, and generally they're in this shape, and the value of all that is X, Y, and Z. And what we have here is a very basic level of inventory control, and that is we keep a record of when the thing was bought, and that pretty much consists of the asset inventory.
And to go forward is, on the grants, we do provide monthly reports to management. We direct management of most of the grants that we get and we see. So, there's a lot of out there things that we want to do more of the level of service that we can provide, doing some changes on that side. And also capital projects. We try to administer most of the capital projects through the departments and help them coordinate those projects that they have. In accounting, we do a 15-day balancing and reconciliation. That's taking the bank statements, reconciling them, posting them, and completing the report. And we do a 10-day procurement processing. And, coming in with over 36 cards and sometimes over 700 transactions and downloading that's the process. I mean, it looks like 10 days and it says, it takes 10 days, but there's like a step from 1 to 2. So 1 to 10, and so it takes a process. Utility billing, they provide, they're open 8 to 5. We have mail. We have online billing now. We just started that this year. They provide that service. I mean, walk-ins. We're open for the lunch hour. So there's, a good openness and customer service there to help our customers out. And then we have a 30-day billing cycle for all the bills that we have over 3,000 accounts. So on the next slide is just our strategic overview, and we have identified one really good strength that we feel like we have good strengths on meeting our state, our deadlines, our grant deadlines, whatever we may be. But those are not given. That's what our job is to do, So that is a strength, but that's what we're required to do. And if we, finance, we have deadlines. That's our middle name. So strengths, we have a cross-trained veteran staff, that's very knowledgeable and has a lot of information to help the departments with and to give them guidance on what they need to do, the new people coming in. Weaknesses, we have a few weaknesses like everybody, we're not perfect. We do a lot of much direction to departments in their finance and budgetary responsibilities. Sometimes we just take it and do it and it's done. So we tend to do that too much.
And I do need to point out something here. And the issue with this, apart from the fact that it just takes finance staff time away from their ability to do analysis and provide a higher level of services in their duties and responsibilities, is that, as you know, in a internal control process, for there to be a proper checks and balance, the people who review, who check, should not also be the people who do the work. And so my concern coming in was that the finance department was just so involved in the departments that it was hard then for there to be a check if they're in fact also doing that much involved with the operations of the department. And so that is a weakness, and one of the things that I've been working with the finance department and with the departments so that we can put the department back, with the finance department back on the proper side of the table to be a reviewer, a checker, the entity that we rely on to make sure that things are checked, as opposed to the department that does the work and then checks itself.
So another few weaknesses is limited cash flow analysis and cash flow management. Also, limited fixed asset control. And these are weaknesses, and it's not like we have no clue of all our fixed assets. We know what we have. We have reporting modules. It's not like we're missing 10 cars or anything. It's just more of doing some of the internal stuff and checking and doing more evaluations on these kind of assets. And also, no internal audit capacity. We don't have an internal auditor. We're all like our own. We check and, but we don't have the time to really go and pull testing work and check on, a mini audit internally. And those are some of our weaknesses. We see some threats coming across. This is probably the first so far, I'm going to be optimistic and hopefully we end up with a good year, but this is the first year that we've actually had low receipts on GRT in the first 2 months. And so it's a weak economy, which is going to strain our existing service levels, and hopefully we can maintain what we are providing to the citizens right now, but if it comes down to getting worse, then that's a threat to us. And also intimate capital funding needs, the council's priorities and things that we know that are coming up, that we know that we need to start looking for money and resource to fund these certain projects or, other items. When the other departments come, they may have more needs, and my list may get bigger on that threat. But, these are the things that we see right now. Opportunities, greater, if we relieve some of our direct operations of departments and their budgets and finances, we can allow ourselves to give you, our customers, yourselves, all of our departments, a better level of service within the finance department.
And the finance department sees this as an opportunity because the town manager is pushing in that direction, that the departments handle their budgets and be more accountable for their budgets and their finances, and the state of the way they do business, and allow the finance department to play its proper role, which is to check that rules are being followed and that things are properly accounted for, as opposed to also being on that side of the table doing the work. So we hope that by there being a proper alignment of where this work falls, that the finance department will have then more time to provide the analysis and a higher level of service in managing the town's finances.
So in the last slide is a work plan, and
for the rest of the
rest of the year and continuing through, and we want to provide a higher level of service and greater analysis, like Oscar had said, in critical areas, investments, our assets, procurement, oversight, just those kind of things, and improve our oversight versus direct operation of departments, so that we, give them that tool and let them go and look at their critical issues on their budgets and problem solving on their side. List of projects and objectives that we've discussed and looked at, and I've met with the staff, and my staff and I have gone over this and talked about it. We've already started with our annual procurement plan with Oscar, and that's it will allow for cash flow management. Right now we just buy and spend and buy, and I mean, it's
very hard to do cash flow management in an organization where you don't know when you're going to be spending things. And what I saw when I first came in was that the spending pretty much spiked. Almost half of the spending took place in the last 2-3 months of the year. And really what that at least indicates is some need to plan better when things are being spent. And so what we're trying to do with this procurement plan is to create for a level spending plan, and one that's well announced, so that the procurement staff knows to prepare for it and know when it's coming. And likewise on the cash side, for us to know how much cash is going to be needed that month. To give you an idea, really the way it works right now, the way that cash management that we provide right now is that we keep a big cash balance. Really, if it's going to be a big month or a low month, basically we keep a big cash balance, and that's how we basically balance our cash flows. The more proper way for that to happen would be that you have just the cash that you need with enough of a cushion every month, and then the balance of that you could invest it in things that, like CDs, et cetera, that could bring better returns. Of course, these days CDs don't pay very much, and so the consequences of us not doing it too much aren't very great. But in the future, that could be a significant part of the revenues that the town could count on. Anyway, so the procurement plan is a big step towards that. It has been hard. It is something that the departments are starting to learn, and we'll keep going forward with that. We hope to very soon be able to make that procurement plan public. I'll certainly present it to you. We'll make it available on the internet, so that vendors will know what is going to be bought in the future, and we can also be transparent in that fashion.
So another item is the Finance Audit Committee that we've been talking about. We've got to formalize it. It's one of the recommendations that the auditors have suggested in our audit, and so that's another list of projects on priorities and goals to do.
And we'll be coming to the department with that proposal for there to be a small committee that would include someone from the council, someone from the community, and so that could provide that first oversight and review of how things are operated in the finance department. Also to help us over time shape the policies that are necessary for us to run smoothly.
Outside colleague review, maybe getting a couple of entities that, either have gotten the GFOA budget award or the CAFR, or, you know, are high up on the list of, you know, good preparation of their budgets and internal controls or best practices, and get them just to come and do a little audit of of the finance department and see how we compare according to what they do on their side. Also revise the monthly report to do more analysis and year-end projections. Like, we're not at the end of the year bringing a final budget adjustment in August to the council. So we know what we're going to spend, what we know we're going to end up with, and we're not at the last minute.
And for example, what you should be having to have a proper budget report, monthly budget report, is that every month we would project to you the way we think that year is going to end, so that if anything happens, we know in October, November that we need to prepare for it, and so it doesn't come to you as a surprise at the end of the year that, oh yeah, now we figured out that we're going to be below budget or above budget.
Also, the annual fixed asset inventory, we're going to start working individually departments, you know, to clean up the list that we do have. Things move around, they go back and forth. We're working with disposal, so just getting physical inventories done and cleaning up everything that everybody has.
And this will include, by the way, an inventory of our streetlights. There are many streetlights. There's all kinds of different rates for each one of them, and it is we're seeing it's going to be a major achievement to account for all of them, both where they are and what kind they are and what specific rate it is that we're paying for each light.
And government finance officers budget to submit for a budget award. We've done it in the past, and I've done a few, and we've gotten away from that practice, and it's a good budgeting practice and standard in the industry, because it outlines and gives you tools and directions on how to prepare a good budget. And so that's one of the things that we're going to also work on. A 5-year financial plan, which also is included in that GFOA budget. So, you know, that will be comprised in there. But, I mean, that improves our long-range planning and goals for all of us that are here, the council and whatever citizens may be. So that's something that we don't have, and I think that's very, you know, important. And then also internally, the financial management policy. We have an accounting manual that's outdated. We still use practices with it, but we need to update it, and so that's a big thing, so that we give this to all the departments, and it's not like, well, that's not what, you know, you said, and it's right here, you know, that guide them to the policy, so everybody has the same direction on that. I mean, you know, we're not just going to say take this and do it yourself. We still are, you know, going to guide them and help them, and that's what our job is, but, you know, give them the tools to understand what we do in the finance department.
And also to take the council's direction about what is a sound financial profile for the organization. How much cash should we have in balance, and how much should we budget? How many days of a balance should we budget? Right now, the state requires 30 days. The town in the past had been up to 45 days. And I think it'd be prudent for us to, over time, begin to get back to that point that we have 45 days operating of balance. Anyway.
So that's my 2-hour presentation.
So and I want to underscore. So this is what we think our job is in finance. This is how good a job we think we can do there with the resources that you provide. These are the things we're doing for that. And I just want to underscore something too. This is a lot of work. The staff worked very, very hard for a long time over the summer to get you this information. And all the other departments will be investing the same amount of time for this. And also so you could see where we think we are, and so that we can, from that, get your input about where you think we should go given that.
Okay. I just want to thank you, Marietta and Oscar, for this presentation. Marietta, I want to thank you and your staff for doing an excellent job throughout the years. You know, I know that we've had some concerns on certain issues, and you've worked on those, you know, such as getting timely payments out to the vendors, you know, improving on that, because time is money, and especially when some vendors need to get paid because they're waiting. I know that you've, with working with Abigail, we've worked with getting these vendors paid timely, and I know that you have some processes to follow, and I sincerely appreciate you embracing that. Sometimes some of the policies that we've had in place sometimes aren't applicable in the changing times, and we need to change to the changing times, and I appreciate you embracing that. I also appreciate also where you identify the weaknesses or areas to improve in too much oversight or direction to the department heads. We need to empower the department heads to take responsibility within the confines of their budget so that they don't feel that, well, it's finance that's doing this, or it's finance that's, not letting me spend the money, or, we need to allow them and empower them to utilize their budget, of course, within the policies as well. So I think that's going to work to your benefit, and it'll work overall with the department heads as well. So I sincerely appreciate that, and thanks for all the, for you guys implementing this so that the council can kind of see this is the core department that makes the Town of Taos function. And it gets more challenging with this economic times, and we're proud to say that we're in the black, but it takes proper management of that budget. We have to make those tough decisions, pull back and not spend what we don't have. So, Councilmember Silva, and then we'll go down the way.
Thank you, Mayor. Marietta and Oscar, thank you for that fine presentation. I, for one, whenever I go into the finance department, that department is always busy, and you run a tight ship there, and you got some great employees. Every time I go in there, everybody's busy. They're doing their job. A couple of things that I've noticed since I've been a counselor is, the utility billing gives great service. We're open at noon hour. We're open first thing in the morning. I'm not sure exactly when their window's open, but I remember getting complaints when I first became a counselor that people were wanting to come in at lunchtime, and then right before, say, 5 o'clock, the windows would be closed. That doesn't happen anymore. They're there, they're giving the service, and that's exactly what we have to do. A couple of other things. The turnover of payments to vendors has improved drastically. I know people don't have to wait, and as a contractor, I know that it's very frustrating to have to work very hard for your money and then have to wait for it. So I know that they are enjoying the fact that they get that prompt payment, and that's appreciated. A couple of things that I've noticed with the fixed asset program, ever since Carol Vallada left, I haven't seen as much activity in that public surplus program. And one of the things when I go down to the Public Works Department, we have a lot of assets there, a lot of cars, a lot of equipment that's not being used, a lot of materials, and that's just one department. I haven't gone into like the youth and families or the library, or I'm sure that, and if you visit that website, Public Surplus, you can go ahead and go in there, and you will find stuff in there from towns and cities will be selling streetlights, meters, you name it, they're selling it. Chairs, desks, computers, cell phones, cars, trucks, equipment. And I'll bet you anything that we have assets that will add up to quite a bit of money. A lot of this money can go to the year-end earned bonus program, some raises, other things, nonprofits. So maybe we could look at that as well. I'd like to see a little bit more activity in that. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Gonzalez, and we'll go to Councilmember Peralta.
Thank you guys again for the presentation. It helps out a lot with regards to the finance department. And Oscar, if there's a way to get the rest of the departments involved, that we can kind of see the same type of presentations being done so that we know actively what's happening within those departments as well. One just comment that I had with regards to the increased spending at the end of the year, how much of that is with regards to expiration of grant funding that's about getting ready to expire?
I could tell you anecdotally. I'll then pass it on to the finance director, who can tell us in greater detail. There was really no reason, sir, for there to be that spike, other than there's just not a lot of planning that goes on. There were items there that could well have been purchased much earlier in the year, except that it was all put off to the very end, and I just think it makes for a very disorderly, and certainly strains the finances ability to put it all through. I know when I was there, just seeing all of the procurements, all of the purchases that took place, even at my level, it's hard to just make sense of everything that's going through there. So I saw no pattern that explained why that happened, other than the fact that just it was put on to the very end. And as I asked the staff about it, that's the way it always happened. And so I'm going to try and change that.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would probably. I think Marietta's got a pretty decent task to complete on her shoulders as it is. So, again, thank you for the job that you guys do.
Okay, Councilmember Peralta.
Marietta, thank you, and Oscar for your presentation. It's nice to see a breakdown of some of the things that goes on in the department, so we get a better understanding of the flow. A couple of things, though. One is on the fixed asset management. When you book that, do you put a timetable for depreciating it out so it
Yes.
gets off the books?
Yes, we use a FASGov database. We don't use our encode, but we do, and it automatically depreciates and gives us all the numbers, and we pull down the reports. So we do that.
Is there anything in that software that would allow you to automatically kick to the department that place is housed to determine whether or not that asset needs to be gotten rid of or still has a useful life, whatever, so that...
It shows the useful life. It's just exporting the things out into like an Excel to send it. But it gives you, however, we have our policy set up on whatever a useful life is for, say, a car, and it will give us that report.
But does that send a report to the department to say if it's a 5-year depreciation value on an automobile as to whether or not that vehicle's still got another 3 years life expectancy or whatever, so that it gives you an opportunity then to use that data to help you manage your
vehicle
future,
replacement,
your replacements,
right.
That sort of thing.
Well, it has that capability, and the challenge in a lot of these things is not so much the technological capability, it's in the procedures, the routines, the discipline in the departments to take that data and do something with it, and to base their management decisions on that, and that's what's missing. That we have the capability, and we have the talent, but we are behind in taking a good an assessment of what those of our assets, whether it's cars, furniture, buildings, etc. That's the part that's missing, and that's the part we hope to be able to focus more on.
Do our auditors do a physical audit of our fixed assets?
They will take a sample and maybe check 3 or 4 things of the new purchases or the old purchases. So they do a sample of testing. So they do go physically. They'll either go see physically a project, the wastewater treatment plant, or they'll go see a piece of equipment or ask for a computer. So they do, the testing that they do on that side of fixed assets.
But they do it for more recent purchases than old, to see if we still have something that was bought 20 years ago still.
Right. No, they do a little of both, but they do more, I think, more to the more recent purchases, but they do go back and check the other ones. And like Oscar said, we do have the capability. It's like this position was vacated when Carol left, and we've been working with just separating of duties and trying to work it out, but we do have a full-time, part-time position that we're going to bring back in because we've felt that it's just, we're handling it, but we're not handling it to the degree of what we need to be at. So we're going to be probably filling a part-time position to come back and bring some of those finance duties back to this position and just focus on the fixed asset stuff, because to me that's a priority right now and what we're going to do. So that's why we've, I think, lagged behind just, with the funding and the budgets and the cuts. We also have to look at ways to see if they're going to work. And, we didn't take it out completely, but I think we are going to bring that back. So I think we will improve in that area on the fixed asset. The public surplus stuff, that's why that has gotten behind, because, the person doing the position is doing half of other stuff too. So we've analyzed it, and with management, Abigail, myself, and Oscar, we're going to work on that and get that position filled as a part-time.
And there's a lot of stuff on our inventory list that really isn't an asset anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
you're being very diplomatic, I know, Councilman, saying that we have a lot of assets there, and some of that stuff is frankly just junk. But it's in our inventory, and we need to get rid of some of that stuff.
If I may, Mayor, and we may call it junk, and we may probably agree on that, but you'd be surprised who buys that junk.
Yeah.
And I mean, just with going through the process, it'll go. There's a buyer for everything.
Right. And because threshold levels started probably in the day, 500, they went to 1,000, went to 1,500, now we're at 5,000. So we tend to keep all those $500 items in as something. So that is something we need to improve on.
Okay. Councilmember Peralta?
Mr. Mayor, no, I appreciate your explanation because it gives us a feeling and an understanding that you have a grasp of what you need to do to move things ahead and make yourselves and the town more efficient. And I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Councilmember Beta?
Thank you, Mayor Cordova. Can you hear me? Yes. Marietta, Oscar, thank you. I have not seen such a good PowerPoint briefing since my Air Force days, over 10 years ago. That was excellent. In a very few simple slides, you were concise, you were short, to the point. But even more important than the briefing being short, concise, and to the point, that briefing is indeed your strategic plan for the department. As a director, Marietta, it helps you to know where you're going to concentrate your efforts, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, if you have staffing levels. In essence, as a good manager, it accomplishes all the 5 functions of management: good planning, good organizing, good staffing, good leading, and good controlling. So ultimately, this is a good template, Oscar, for all departments. And I look forward to seeing every single department following this template, because even directors are going to learn that they're not doing such a good job as they thought they were doing. So this is a very important tool to help every department ultimately provide the best customer service that you can to who? Our constituents. So excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank us both.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you. Thank you once again, and appreciate the great work you all do.
Good job.
Thank you all.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, this time, and I'll also thank you to all the department heads for staying and attending as well, so thank you. We'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Let me
Go ahead.
Let me go and just, the council will adjourn to executive session pursuant to NMSA 1015-1H8 to discuss Chamisa Verde subdivision, lots 17 and 18.
So moved.
So, and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We will be back.
Yeah, that was good.
Oscar, this shouldn't take long, right?
No, sir.
Just
5 minutes?
It's just a consent.
hopefully you can.